The average Korean high school student sleeps about 5.5 hours a night. Their American counterpart sleeps closer to 7.5. Their European counterpart, even more. This isn't a one bad week before exams. This is the daily routine, year after year, from roughly age 15 until university entrance. Korean teenagers consistently rank near the top of the world in math and reading. They also rank near the bottom of the developed world in life satisfaction. The story behind this single number, 5 hours, explains both at once. Here's the picture in numbers. In the most recent PISA international rankings, Korean 15-year-olds placed in the top 10 of every academic measure. They outperformed the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and most of the OECD by a wide margin. At the same time, Korean adolescents report some of the lowest happiness scores in the developed world. Suicide is the leading cause of death for Koreans aged 10 to 19. Roughly 4 out of 5 Korean teenagers are nearsighted, one of the highest rates ever recorded, largely from years of close-range reading under indoor light. So Korea has built one of the most academically successful student populations on the planet. It has also built one of the most exhausted, anxious, and physically fragile. The Korean education race did not begin yesterday. Its roots reach back to the post-war period, when Korea was extremely poor, and a single university entrance exam was the cleanest pathway out of poverty. Universities became sorted into a strict hierarchy, and the difference between the top 3 and everything else translated into very different lifetime incomes. Once that became visible to every parent in the country, an arms race was inevitable. Public schools alone could not give your child an edge, so private after-school academies, called hagwons, took over the evenings, then the early mornings, then the weekends. Today, the average Korean family spends a substantial share of household income on private tutoring, and roughly 7 out of 10 students attend at least one hagwon. Sleep is what gets cut to make room for all of it. The costs are not abstract. They show up first in mental health. Korean adolescents report anxiety and depression at rates that have alarmed every public health authority in the country. They show up in the body. Korea now has one of the highest rates of teenage nearsightedness ever measured, and orthopedic doctors routinely treat teenagers for posture problems usually seen in adults. They show up in family life. Many Korean teenagers and their parents share a home but barely share meals because schedules no longer overlap, and they show up in the workforce later. Korean university graduates often arrive at their first jobs already exhausted, already deep into burnout patterns that should not exist at age 23. The system delivers excellent test takers. It does not deliver well-rested, healthy, curious young adults. So why should anyone outside Korea care? Because the structural forces that produce the Korean education race are now visible across the developed world. Wherever a small number of universities controls access to a small number of secure careers, parents will rationally invest more and more time, money, and pressure to give their children an edge. The United States, the United Kingdom, China, India, Singapore, and increasingly parts of Western Europe are all watching their own versions of this curve climb. Korea simply got there first. What looks like a uniquely Korean problem is really an early warning about what happens when education becomes the primary mechanism for distributing future income. The cost is paid in sleep, in health, and in the relationship between generations. Korea is showing the rest of the world what that bill eventually looks like.